Good morning. Nice crowd this morning. My name is Katie Christ, and I'm serving as your service associate this morning. We're glad that you've joined us here in the hall and through your screens. In preparation for our service, please pull out your device and turn off your ringer so that we can enjoy the service without interruption. I think I've already done mine. Welcome to the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a pluralist community of seekers, humanists, theists, atheists, agnostics, and everything in between. While we don't all share the same views about spirituality, there are many things that we do share in common. Here in this congregation, we are committed to treating each other with compassion and respect, to learning from one another, and to sharing our resources to help build a more just world. We gather together each week to connect, to wrestle with life's big questions, and to rededicate ourselves to living into our Unitarian Universalist values of justice, equity, generosity, pluralism, transformation, interdependence, and love. Whether this is your first Sunday with us or you've been here for more Sundays than you could ever count, we are so grateful you've chosen to be here this morning. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time with us on site this morning, please find someone at the welcome desk after the service and say hello. They are so glad to answer your questions, and they can share all kinds of information about our congregation with you. If you're joining us online, please go to our website at euuc.org and click on the tab that says I'm new, and then click on What Are You Interested in? Once you fill out that form, we will send you more information about who we are and about who you can become if you choose to explore this amazing congregation. If you're here in Chapman Hall this morning, you are welcome to gather with us and socialize after the service. Please go out the double doors at the back of this hall, grab a hot beverage, and join us for coffee hour. And also, we will be joined in the building by the Snohomish tribe, who will begin their annual programs here after our services. If anyone is able to join them set up, that would be greatly appreciated. And remember that we welcome all children for all parts of our worship service, and we remind ourselves that the noises they make are sacred and holy. We are so glad that you're here. And now we open the service with our land acknowledgement. Let us remember that our congregational home, this site on which we are gathered this morning, is placed on the ancestral lands of the Snohomish people who have inhabited this region of the Salish Sea since time immemorial, and who continue their livelihoods on these lands today. May we all live and learn humbly as allies of the Snohomish. Each week, we commit a sign and a signal of our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism, by placing a flame in the bowl of this chalice. The symbol of the flaming chalice signifies the warmth of this community and the flame of our hope, which still burns brightly, even in the midst of changing and challenging times. Our chalice lighting reading this morning comes from Eric Hepburn, who writes, "We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains." Now let us say our affirmation. You can say it out loud, read along, listen to the group reading, or otherwise participate as you wish. We need each other, and so we come to this place to work and dance and laugh and cry and think. We call ourselves a religious community, not because this place is in itself holy ground, but because what we do here and say here and are here make it so. So let it be. Now we will turn our camera zoom to the gathering in Seabeck and join them for Time for All Ages, a reading, and some singing.
Okay, got it. All right, so I'm hearing we might need to vamp for a few minutes. Wow, I wasn't really prepared to improv this morning, but here we are. Before we get started with the story, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the background of our story today, where it comes from. So we'll go ahead and do that as everyone grabs their seats. Our story today is called Sing Don't Cry by Angela Dominguez. And there's this really interesting family history in the back of the story. So before we get started with the story, I'm gonna go ahead and share a little bit of that with you. And then Mike, when you're ready, let me know. That's a thumbs up. Are we connected? Oh, hello. Hello, EUC. It's good to be with you all today. All right, so the author's note about this story says, Sing Don't Cry is inspired by the refrain in Cielito Lindo, a popular Mexican song, which goes, ay, 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 canta no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo los corazones, which translates to, ay, 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 sing and don't cry, because singing gladdens the heart, sweet, lovely one. And this is a story that was written for this author's grandfather, who was a musician named Apolinar Navarrete Diaz, who was born all the way back in 1916 and moved to Mexico City, where he became a musician. And so this is a story about Angela Dominguez's grandfather. Let's get started. All right. Sing Don't Cry by Angela Dominguez. Dedicated to my family, especially my abuelo Apolinar. Once a year, my abuelo would come from Mexico to stay with us. He always brought his guitar, and he would sing to us every night. He would tell us about his life, and if we were sad about something, he would say, sing, don't cry. Because singing gladdens the heart. When Abuelo was little, he had to travel a long way to find a new home, just like us. He told us singing made the distance seem smaller. Even when bad things happen, he said, you can still sing. Some things may be lost forever. It's true. Yeah, sometimes we lose our teddy bears. Sometimes they're lost forever. But maybe that makes room for a new and wonderful thing to be found. And eventually, you'll be able to walk tall, sing, don't cry, even when you are alone in a big city. Because singing can attract someone to sing with you. Does anyone like to sing with their friends? Yeah, I see some folks back there, some grown-ups raising their hands. I saw some of you all singing with your friends last night. When you are misunderstood, remember. And when people are unkind, remember, sing, don't cry, even if it is only in your soul. Sometimes we can sing to ourselves to make ourselves feel braver. And always, Abuelo told us, I will be singing with you. And that is the end of our story for all ages today. Thank you so much for coming forward and sharing this time together.
And now I'd like to invite Melanie DeMore to lead us singing the song we created yesterday.
And so, family, you made this extraordinary song, and it is yours. Every single one of you are in the picture of this song. So let us sing with joy our prayer. Okay. Our prayer is love in action, creating the world to see. The law we pray is holding faith, love, always love. Together we stand on courage strong, knowing we're not alone. In dark and light, in day and night, connected in ways unknown. Prayer is love in action, creating the world to see. To all we pray, with hope and faith, with love, always love. There is love in action, creating the world to see. To all we pray, with hope and faith, with love, always love. But the depths of love can fix our hearts, our roots so deep and wide. Planted the seed, sharing the grace, and serving how to do. There is love in action, creating the world to see. Through all we pray, with hope and faith, with love, always love. Our prayers is love in action, creating the world to see. Through all we pray, with hope and faith, with love, always love. Oh, brave, we embrace the struggle, working forever on. Sing the music of one, and we say all the wrong. Prayer is love in action, creating the world to see. Through all we pray, hope and faith, with love, always love. Our prayer is love in action, creating the world to see. Through all we pray, hope and faith, with love, always love. Through all we pray, hope and faith, with love, always love. Through all we pray, hope and faith, with love, always love.
And now, Bruce, would you like to have your comments?
Thank you. So our theme for this weekend was changing the world through song. And song has long been one of the vehicles for achieving what we want to do and displaying who we are from time immemorial. In the very earliest days, it is said that the Vikings made their trips rowing across the ocean using song. We don't know what those are. The records have not survived, but we're talking thousands of years ago. Music is also a source of healing. And I think many of us feel healed in our hearts this weekend through companionship, through song, and through being in a quiet, peaceful place. It's a source of social change. Certainly from the 60s, there's a plethora of music that we still sing, and a lot of it this weekend. But well before that, music and song were a vehicle for change and for voicing opinion that has survived so well. And it adds to our history. It is part of our culture. So it's been great to have that here. And not only that, but create a new culture collaboratively, which is what we did yesterday. Let's see, and I do have one thing to say of that. It's something that I've long said, but we change the world one song at a time. Barb is going to give some history on Malvina Reynolds, famous singer who didn't even start writing until she was in her 60s.
Yes, some of you may be very familiar. Some of the children may be very familiar, maybe not even know who the author was, or the songwriter was, but you sing her songs all the time. Love, sing with me. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, lend it so tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend, you'll have so many they'll roll all over the floor. So love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Malvina Reynolds' songs have found their way into the repertoire of entertainers, protesters, teachers, parents, and children all around the world. At this moment in the service of this focus is on her song lyrics and poetry, but a bit about her biographical and historical background, Malvina's songs and her life. Malvina Reynolds was born Malvina Milder on August 23rd, 1900. To a Jewish socialist immigrant family in San Francisco, California. Her parents ran a tailor shop, and their home was filled with political discussion and meetings. Due to her parents' opposition to the First World War, Lowell High School denied Malvina a high school diploma, but her teachers at Lowell helped her get into the University of California at Berkeley anyway. There she learned both her bachelor's and master's degree, and later in 1938, her PhD in Romance philology. Jews and women had a harder time getting good jobs then than now, and throughout the Depression and following years, Malvina was unable to find a college teaching position. She worked at this and that, and in 1934, marrying carpenter and labor organizers William Bud Reynolds, and having a daughter in 1935. In the late 40s, which were also her late 40s, Bud and Malvina worked together on progressive political campaigns, and she performed at folk music events in the Los Angeles area. Along with Earl Robinson and other musicians active in the People's Songs, whose bulletin was a forerunner of Sing Out, the Sing Out magazine. She had been writing the occasional popular or political songs since her late 30s. By her 50s, she had increased her output and added children's songs to the mix. by the time the folk protest movements of the 60s came along. She had honed her skills and was ready to take on the issues of the day: civil rights, opposition to the war in Vietnam, and the right of workers to organize. Overall, she wrote hundreds of songs, some of great beauty, and many displaying a sense of humor and wit that has endeared her to performers and listeners from Helsinki to Tokyo. Pete Seeger describes his first visit with Malvina Reynolds. It was 1947. At a hootenanny in Los Angeles, a middle-aged woman asked if she could speak to me. "Well, what is it?" he said. "Well, I need more time than we have here." Next day, she came to where I and my small family were staying and said, "I like to try to do what you do. Sing for unions, for people trying to do something good in their corner of the world." I said, "Well, you don't get rich, but you meet all sorts of wonderful people." I probably told her to get on the phone when she read the papers about something interesting going on, and tell them that she had a song which would hit the spot for their meeting. She was 46 or 47, had a shock of beautiful white hair. I was 28, that's Pete. I remember thinking, geez, she's kind of old to get started. I had a lot to learn. Pretty soon she was turning out song after song after song. Oops, sorry. Pages. When Malvina was a student at the University of California, Berkeley, she took a class studying the English ballads as though they were poems with no music, poems with no music. She told the professor she thought that the ballads should be studied as they had originally been created. She volunteered to sing them to the class, and the professor agreed. When she was a student teacher trying to teach poetic structure to high school students who showed little interest in poetry, she used the words of current popular songs as her texts instead of poems, but these students had all the music in their heads already. If you come to this website, you're reminded of the words to a song you once knew, you will be in their position. But if you try to analyze the lyrics of songs you have never heard sung, remember that something important is missing. Yip Harburg, lyricist of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, said, "Words make you think a thought. Music makes you feel a feeling. A song makes you feel a thought." Although her topical attacks, such as the classic Little Boxes, how many of you know the song Little Boxes? Made a ticky-tacky. Are perhaps easiest to appreciate, many of Malvina Reynolds' compositions are exquisitely sensitive and richly be considered children's songs. Take, for example, Morningtown Ride. Are you familiar with that? It's fabulous. Morningtown Ride. One of the few lullabies ever become a #1 pop hit in England in 1966, as recorded by the Seekers. One can hardly imagine a setting, a train full of contentedly sleeping children chugging and puffing its way down coast through the night, that better lends itself to an allegorical working. Although Malvina is on record as saying she composed this song as a comfort to children afraid of being cut off from the world by going to sleep at night. One wonders, with all her other agendas, not to mention her earlier academic interests, including Greek mythology, what else she may have invested, consciously or not, into this scenario. The creative listener, for example, might take the song as a sly jab at organized religion and its tendency to turn its followers into contempt. But unquestioning domesticates, I'm going to read that sentence again. Okay. The creative listener, for example, might take the song as a sly jab at organized religion and its tendency to turn its followers into contempt, but questioning domesticates. On the other hand, one might conclude that she was poking fun at the average citizen, portraying him or her as blindly goal-oriented and insensitive to the richness of the ride itself. So mysteriously interposed among the basic interfaces of time, space, and knowledge. Or again, and were she known to have had any interest in theosophy, she didn't. What better metaphor for the voyage of the soul after death, bound for reincarnation? I must tell you here, Malvina Reynolds was a Unitarian Universalist. Actually from her upbringing all the way through life. Such interpretations, and probably a dozen more of this kind, come so easily, it's difficult to dismiss the work of just another children's song. It has a bit too much backbone. Notice in particular how Malvina concludes the song with the rather sobering lines. Somewhere there is sunshine, somewhere there is day, somewhere there is morning town, many miles away. Surely the deliberate use of the word somewhere here 3 times, where it is absent in the earlier verses, does not help allay fears. There might be storms to weather before the nirvanic destination, morning town, is finally achieved. And what about this many miles away business? Wouldn't the blind optimist rather hear that it's just around the corner? Or some such? From the perspective of her many years, Malvina knew as well as anyone that sunshine and day are not givens in the voyage of life. They are earned. And yet this song seems hopeful at the end, and it may indeed send a message to a child anyway, warm and comforting. But we who sing the song to our children no longer find ourselves in this blissful place and must individually decide how to face up to the troubling realities. Clearly, Malvina's own decisions involved cherishing what was good about the world, while not merely avoiding or turning away from what was not so good. One cannot ask more from one's heroes. And, excuse me. Bruce, do you have a song to sing? And Bruce, is this a song called Leave Time?
It's a song, this song is called Leave Time. It's written by Dan Schatz, who is a UU minister in Pennsylvania. And he's originally from Maryland. We may have remembered this. And so if you do, absolutely sing along early. But Dan Schatz opened up he's a singer-songwriter as well. When I ran into this at Edmonds, I was immediately taken by it. And I thought, this is fantastic. I mean, for the forest bathers, for those that are in this sacred place, walking the hills, going to the cemetery, getting a chance to reground yourself, it does the same thing for me. And so on that Sunday, I wrote Dan and I said, Dan, please, I've got to have the lyrics to it. Now, the silliest thing a person could ever do is to write a minister on a Sunday, hoping for a response. But one came sailing in the inbox, and I sang it that evening in a circle. So here it is, Leave Time. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the day. Come sit by my side, tell the story. One of a love too deep to find. One of a sailor wending homeward. One of the echo of your mind. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. After the hurry comes the harbor. After the journey comes the rest. Trade rushing for the rushing of the waters. Banks, fields filled with furrows, banks and nests. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. By which may all your travels bring you comfort. May all your loving give you some. May all your learnings leave you open. May all your rambles lead you home. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Time for the quiet of the way.
Thank you, thank you. And now we'll release the flame. We release this flame, but not the light of truth. We release this flame, but not the warmth of this community. We release this flame, but not the fire of our commitment. These we will carry in our hearts until we meet again.
As we bid our group over in Seabeck adieu, let us have time for our reflections now. A kind word or a thoughtful act, like a pebble dropped in water, sends ripples into our world. Should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone, release a bit of pain, forgive yourself or someone else, or otherwise mark some important event or occasion, please step forward and quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop a pebble into the water, mingling the ripples of your intention with the ripples of other people in our community. During this quiet time, and as the music plays, please feel free to come forward and place a pebble in the water. You may share the moment at the bowl with someone else, still sending the same thoughts outward, and now with other members of the community close by. And please approach together from both sides at the same time, and sensing and being together as we send our thoughts out into the world. As usual, please approach by the outer aisles and return by the center. I will drop one pebble for all those whom we wish were here with us today, and another for all those who wish they were here with us. May it be so. If you are new to our gathering, it is important for you to know that EUUC's weekly offering does not support the ongoing operations of this congregation. We support our congregation by making generous pledges of financial support that we pay month by month and year by year. Our Sunday offering is dedicated to going right out the door into the world to support organizations doing good works that align with and extend the mission of our congregation, gathering together, nurturing the Spirit, living our vision of a just and sustainable world. The September cause of the month is Hello NERS, Hello Nurse is a 501c3 nonprofit and free web resource, hellonurs.com. Catherine and Gary Knight founded Hello Nurs in 2023 after they personally struggled to find adequate in-home nursing care for their medically complex daughter. They are not alone. 1 in 4 medically complex families are discharged from the hospital with no plan set up for adequate nursing care support once the family returns home. In addition, many of the medically complex families who use Hello Nurs live outside of major cities or in rural areas. They have traveled to large city hospital systems to receive the level of medical care their children require. Once they are home, these resources are no longer locally available. Families are left to navigate their needs on their own. Hello Nurs exists to help families become connected with appropriate level caregivers in their communities. The funds donated by EUUC will be used to help them continue to connect these families with nurses who can help them. This Sunday cause was nominated by Jason Hendrickson. If you are online or if you're on site and you have your phone in your hand, you can find and donate to the Sunday Offering Cause of the Month by using the QR code or by going to the EUUC website and clicking on Donate. Or if you're on site and you have cash or a check with you, there are baskets out in the narthex where you can contribute. Just go through the doors, turn around, and you'll see them underneath the screen on the wall. As always, thank you for your generous donations. And now for a few announcements. The EUUC Annual Report for 2024-25 church year is complete. It's available for viewing in the Operations and Planning part of EUUC's new social media platform, Circle. If you need help setting up Circle, email circle.admin@euuc.org. You could also email the Congregational Admin's Office to get a copy of the report. Respiratory illnesses update. COVID infection rising, DOH standing order. We are now seeing a late summer COVID surge, which is still less than last year's, but may not have yet peaked. COVID is not highly predictable. Please continue using common sense precautions that we all know by heart by now. Stay home if you're sick or were recently exposed. Mask in crowded indoor spaces if you're vulnerable, and wash your hands frequently. If you are diagnosed with COVID within 3 days of your attendance, please inform the COVID advisory team immediately. Thank you. Been there, done that. Make stewardship your home for service. We need each other. Members of this congregation make both financial and service pledges annually to support our community with the many resources it needs to thrive. If you're still looking for a place to serve or are ready to change things up, please consider joining the bright and intrepid circle of friends that is the Stewardship Committee. The committee is in need of 2 to 3 more members to bring our still new service pledge tracking system to life. Your work will help match individuals' passions and skills with service opportunities to meet the needs of this growing congregation. Familiarity with Breeze is a plus, but not a requirement. Email Claire Catania through Breeze for more information. And that is the end of our weekly pulpit announcements. As always, check on the screens in the narthex for other things going on. Finally, we give thanks to all of you who make this service and the work of this congregation possible. Now, please join me in the words printed on the screen as we release the flame of our burning chalice. We release this flame, but not the light of truth. We release this flame, but not the warmth of this community. We release this flame, but not the fire of our commitment. These we will carry in our hearts until we meet again. Friends, the service begins as our service ends. Go in peace, practice love. Amen.